What is up, everybody? Welcome to another therapy session. So, Ms. D, how you doing, man?
Hey there, folks. This is gonna be a good one.
Okay, so this therapy session has to do with the DCEU. That's their version of their cinematic universe or whatever.
It is.
There's some good, there's some bad, and there's some unrealistic. And we're gonna try to go through all of this because, contrary to popular belief, I actually like DC. Contrary to popular belief, I actually really do like DC. I like some of their characters.
I love it. I'm a DC fanboy over here.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here, and my only issue, the only time I really have issues with DC fans is their unrealisticness of Batman can beat everybody. And I'm like, no, he can't. I'll give you his intelligence.
I don't believe that. So why? Is that a DC fan thing, or is this a DC extremist?
Well, it's kind of on the extremist side of things because you have a discussion. Like, one of my favorite ones from a few years ago was, if Batman knows Wolverine is coming, he can. Wolverine doesn't stand a chance. I'm like, no.
What?
And people like, why do you say that? I'm like, okay, just take away Wolverine's powers for 1 second. Batman was trained as a ninja. Wolverine was trained as a samurai. There is a reason ninjas never win at samurais in the open. There is a reason.
That's
so
true.
just thinking about it on that level, no.
Well, I think they're thinking about his deductive reasoning, his detective skills, which we haven't really seen in the movies, really. So
yeah. And
but still,
but then because when somebody says that, I'm like, okay, yeah, he does all of that. If Batman messes up and makes Wolverine go berserk, he's a dead man. Wolverine kills, Batman doesn't. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. But as far as the DCEU is concerned, I think one of the main things they messed up was one of the first things they messed up with was, as you mentioned before we even started, was trying to force Justice League too fast. That was number one. They just shouldn't have did that unless they were going to do it the way DC did the New 52, where they started off with Justice League and just look, you don't know who these people are? Good, cool, because guess what? The characters in this book don't know who each other are. And they have to come together to fight to stop this one event. And then out of that, we'll do their individual stuff where you actually get their character development and get to know them. And then when Justice League 2 comes around, now we put the full team together as how they're supposed to be. If you're not going to do it that way, then you need to hold off. And they didn't do that.
I don't even know. What was the hurry?
Well, they were being reactionary. I think from a business standpoint, WB saw all that money Marvel was making and was like, we can do that.
They methodically got there. It wasn't just Avengers. It was like 4 movies before Avengers came.
Yeah. Because you had to set up, because people didn't know who me and you knew who they were.
Yeah.
But the movie going audience don't know who these people are.
Right.
And
technically they still don't, because Thor don't act like that in comics.
No, he does not. I mean,
just so you know.
Yeah, I mean they've tried to kind of.
I understand why they did it. I understand, because the Thor that they had, it wasn't working for the movies. So I understand why they went more comical with him.
Yeah.
But he's way more like stoic,
Yeah,
I am Thor,
And they've tried to even in the comics now, they've tried to especially in Avengers, they've tried to push him toward that a little bit more.
They try to retcon him a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as
it's still not working.
No, I mean, the way he was in the comics is fine for the comics.
Yeah.
And I understand why they did what they did for the movies. So
yeah, in that works, because there's gonna have to be little minute changes here. Mm-hmm. But I think the first thing they messed up with was, and this goes back to the Christopher Nolan movies. Even though they're not technically a part of the DCEU, those movies came out way too close to when they decided they were going to do that.
Right.
And people still had on their brain Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. And even Christopher Nolan himself said, my Batman cannot exist in a world where the Flash, Wonder Woman, and all these fantastical characters exist, because I'm taking it as if a billionaire actually did this.
Right.
So it's not from the comic. It's from if a billionaire actually went and did these things.
Yeah.
Which is why he had him like 8 years. What it was like, 8 years later, he had a messed up knee because he's human.
Yeah. It's going to take a toll on him.
Yeah, it would take a toll, even though, well, not 8 years. It was like a year and a half. I take it back. It was a year and a half. I'm thinking about something else. It was a year and a half, I think, in Dark Knight. In Dark Knight Rises, when it was like he had been.
It was like 8 years.
Was 8 years? Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, that would happen in the comics. Batman don't never get hurt like that.
Nope.
And you're like, bruh.
He'll get hurt. He'll brush it right off. He'll brush it off and keep moving. Like it's not
which
severe severe like long-term injuries or anything like that. That didn't happen. Outside of what Bane did to him.
Which that's like a whole 3 hours of review on that one. But the thing that killed it was that I think a lot of movie going fans was expecting that dark and gritty realism. And I think the perfect example of why that doesn't work is if you look at the Arrowverse. The first 2 seasons of Arrow made sense. The second Barry Allen shows up, it goes out the window.
Right.
Because this Arrow cannot exist in this world where a speedster exists.
No.
So
his whole personality had to change too.
Yeah. And that wasn't the Arrow from the comics. That was Batman.
Right. I mean, it was clearly Batman. They couldn't get Batman, so they did their own Batman.
Which that in and of itself was hilariously jacked up.
Now I love that the fact that they started with an Arrow TV show, because again, just like Captain America, unless you're a comic reader, you don't really know Green Arrow that well. You just think he's some loinclothed, fruity kind of like
with a Robin Hood
Hawkeye
hat on.
Yeah, right. So I'm glad that they did the show, but obviously they were pulling from Batman a lot. He's not brooding the way Batman is or any of that kind of stuff.
Oliver in the comic is a mix between Tony Stark and Hawkeye.
Right.
Like that's really what he's like, more fun loving. He tells jokes. He got one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
He don't brood.
No.
So
it was so much brooding in them, especially those first couple seasons. Goodness gracious.
So that right there showed me the template of, okay, dude, this, if you try to do this, this can't work this way. Now, the other thing too is the main thing I think killed them was how they did the Superman Batman relationship. Like I didn't have a problem with Man of Steel when it first came out. I never had an issue with it. My only thing was I didn't like, and we've talked about this before, I didn't like how they portrayed Ma and Pa Kent. I didn't like that because I'm like, okay, dude, that's not okay, whatever. And
right,
I didn't like the fact that,
especially Pa Kent. Yeah,
because especially the way he went out, that was just
the way he went out and the way he acted.
Yeah,
like towards telling, basically telling Clark to let people die and stuff like that. That's like not Jonathan Kent at all. So
no, that's not. But
yeah,
that's the issue. But I thought it was a good, and I didn't like the fact that like he didn't like all that destruction that happened, and the first thing he do was go get Amy Adams, and I'm like, bruh,
there's people, you got to go make sure these people are fine. Yeah, but in hindsight, that was kind of a off thing. So. But I could live with that.
Yeah.
But I can't live. That's my one thing is how Jonathan Kent went out. Because it was very important the way he went out is to show you there's things that Superman can't stop from happening. He's that's the one thing he couldn't stop was Jonathan Kidd having a heart attack. There's nothing he could do about that. So it made way more sense. I mean, it was just pointless. It was pointless to put it that way in the movie. Like, especially
when the fact is that nobody on that bridge would have ever saw him. That's how fast he is.
Right. He's that fast. So if he wanted to do it, he could have done it, and nobody would have saw.
Yeah, and Pa Kent knew that. Jonathan Kent knew that.
He knew that. It just made no sense all around. Yeah. It was a stupid. Oh, let's save the dog trope. We get it. Yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. That was the best you can come up with to make that scenario happen. That was just way corny to me. But
yeah,
it is.
So it was that. So
that was it. But I love the rest of the movie. I don't know. He snapped his neck. What else could he do? Like,
I'm like, dude, there is a family right there. Dude straight up tells you gonna have to kill me to stop me from killing them.
Right. And this is from the same people that said he didn't save anybody. He literally, the one thing you're mad about, he was saving people.
Yeah.
When he did that, it was just like, what? Okay. That's
now you're just piling on. Okay. At that point, I'm like, now y'all nitpicking.
Yeah.
Like, now y'all nitpicking.
There's a lot of nitpicking and piling on after that.
Yeah. So. But I thought I enjoyed that one. Now, here's where the problem came in for me. Batman versus Superman.
Right. Because it shouldn't have been a Batman versus Superman after Man of Steel. It should have been Man of Steel 2, or let's bring in Wonder Woman. That should have been Wonder Woman's window. You know, like, or then you bring in a Flash or reestablish Green Lantern, please, because he needs to be reestablished. In a big way. Maybe they felt it was too early after the Ryan Reynolds movie. That's fine, but maybe do his movie. Maybe have his movie be the last origin film. You know, you get to that way. It's far enough away from. I don't blame Ryan Reynolds for it, obviously.
Yeah. Don't worry about to get on him too.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the main problem is that they went into Batman vs Superman right away, which is fine, but then they just make it Batman vs Superman. Don't try to make it Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. Just make it Batman versus Superman, because that made sense to happen after that was a smart story thread. Is all the destruction. Batman lost people in a building. He was, excited about. That's a good setup. That's a really good setup. That part really worked. Then make that the focal point. And then at the end they come together and they realize, that they shouldn't be fighting each other. They're on the same team. They want the same thing. Batman learns that. Because then you could have shaved away. I love Wonder Woman in the movie. She was a big part of why it was good. But you could have shaved away her and saved her for later. And you could have focused on Batman's origin, because you had to reestablish him as well. Like you were saying, this is not the Nolan Batman. So you could have spent more time on, we just see a Robin suit as he walks by. You could have explored that. That could have been a huge part of the movie. That would have been awesome. If you
instead of that nightmare sequence, they should have had a Robin.
Right. That's what you should have had, a Robin flashback. What happened and what tormented Batman to the point where he's like murdering people, like he doesn't care anymore. That would have, and then Superman could help bring him back. And that would have been a great, I wish I could have wrote this, because it would have been way better that way. But that's not Zack Snyder's fault though.
No, that's David Goyer's fault.
That's David Goyer's fault. And the studio. Because they were trying to push, Justice League too early. That was the problem. Yeah. So and there are issues with Batman versus Superman, but a big chunk of that has to do with Warner Brothers and not Zack Snyder. So
I agree with that. But my other problem with that film also was the fact that I'm talking about the theatrical cut. I'm not talking about the cut that came out in July that everybody loves. I'm talking about when you went to the theater and saw it. It was a one-sided movie. You only saw the point of view of Batman.
Yeah.
There was no Superman point of view. So it made Superman look like a douchebag.
Right. And here's the problem. Man of Steel was establishing Superman. Superman had been Superman for like a day, That's why a lot of people were upset. Oh, he's so dark and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He should have came out of that movie as Superman, right? Or at least by the time you got to Batman v Superman, he's grown into, you got to see him become the hopeful Superman that everybody knows. And at that point, Batman is just getting angry and angry. It's like, I see him better. I see him the way you people need to see him, kind of a thing. That could have been another nice struggle. Like,
that's why you needed another.
Because you never really got to see that. Everybody loves Superman. He's doing all these great things. They tried to shovel it in there with some news clips, but that's not enough. You need to show him, like, the beginning of the movie should have been fine with the destruction of Metropolis to set up Batman, but then you go to Superman doing something crazy to stop something, some other villain or something.
Well, like you said,
even less.
It's like you said, they needed another Man of Steel movie. They needed another one before that, because
and it was gonna be.
We still have brooding Superman. Superman don't brood.
There is a comic, I forget who wrote it. There is a thread that came out around that time, maybe a little bit before. I forgot who wrote it. Who was the writer on that series, where they explore Superman as being like basically what they did in the movie. So he's pulling from a comic book series. I can't remember exactly.
Are you talking about Alien in America?
Is that it? Yeah, Alien in America. Is that it? So he's pulling from that. And I understand that, because a lot of people's gripes, especially with like Superman Returns, was that, I can't relate to Superman. People can't relate to him. So they were trying to make him relatable. So I get that. But they didn't have enough time to do it. That's the problem. Yeah. Because they rushed right into him fighting Batman and making Batman look like the hero
and
the whole time, So...
And is it me, or they chose the wrong Batman? Not Ben Affleck. I mean Frank Miller. They chose the Frank Miller Batman, and I think they should have went younger, because in the comic, Clark and Bruce are the same age.
They're the same age.
So to me, it would have been better, instead of having Ben Affleck. It should have been
Armie Hammer. It should have been Armie Hammer, probably. Yeah.
So that way, it would have made more sense if you got two people the same age coming from very different points of view, instead of having Ben Affleck, who's mid-40s, and Cavill, who's my age, doing like they should have been at least.
You still could have had the storyline of what happened with Robin. That could have still happened in that time period. You could have. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect the way the comic goes.
Yeah.
You can adjust your story, and you still could have had that conflict of what happened. Batman, maybe he's doing it for 10 years, and he's kind of wearing out from it. That's long enough. Yeah. Dick Grayson not Dick Grayson.
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. He would have been. That would have been fine to make him a little old enough to where that would still work. Yeah. So. I don't know. I mean, they botched it. Yeah, that's the whole reason for this therapy session is because.
Yeah. Now on the Green Lantern, and this is where I felt bad for Ryan Reynolds, especially after when you go back and watch the first Deadpool, because he tells you basically what happened in that. He told you in the movie of Deadpool what happened to him in Green Lantern, how he was basically lied to. He was basically lied to. Then they shortened the film time on top of that, so they didn't have time to actually fix the stuff they needed to fix.
They chopped a mess out of that movie.
Yeah. So he basically tells you, if you go back and watch the first Deadpool, the sequence on the highway, he doesn't say any names, but you know who he's talking about.
Yeah. And
I don't know what this is, because you understand the movie making side better than I do. If you know in Fantastic Four 2 that the spiraling cloud does not work, how would you go with spiraling cloud? I understand you can't do I don't understand people wouldn't understand the Purple Pimp Galactus, but that's better than having a spiral cloud.
Right.
So you have Parallax.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
Why didn't they just take Parallax from the comic and just do it like that? That would have made more sense than what they did.
I don't know, man. I can't explain this from movie terms, because it doesn't make sense in movie terms either.
Not when there was an example of it not working before.
Right, you already had an example of it not working. There's so many more better options if you're paying attention. I can explain it to where this is a board meeting. This is a board coming making creative decisions. That's where I can explain it from, because there's no way a creative person made these decisions. It was the same way with the editing, and they decided, okay, they probably realized that this was going to be a flop, or is going to be, not a success. So part of that decision making was chopping that movie up. Why? So you can get it to play more before everybody realizes how much trash it is. So you get that big opening weekend. You fill as many theaters as you can, and you also fill as many time slots in a day as you can, because that way, by the time people realize this is a train wreck, you'll have recouped enough of your money. Right, you recouped something at least, to where it's not a huge failure. Because after that, you can get money from Blu-ray, DVD, and all that kind of stuff, and streaming, and that will prop up, your costs. So that'll save you in the end. So they probably decided this is a mess. Martin Campbell was not the right director for this. I don't know what they were thinking on that front. He doesn't do fantasy. Like, that's not a thing for him. He's a raw, gritty, he's the James Bond guy, that's what he does. He made two of the best James Bond movies ever in GoldenEye and Casino Royale. I don't know why they thought, oh yeah, Green Lantern.
My thing is, just get Kevin Smith.
Yeah, like, at least get him to write it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. He's been writing so much stuff that they never use, and it's just like, what are you doing? What is the point of all this, other than to give him a paycheck, a free check? It's not free because he is doing the work.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. You don't get to see it. This is totally by committee, like I said, board member, board group meeting decision. That movie was. You could tell just with the marketing. Even it felt like McDonald's-y, like McDonald's toys type of like. What? I mean, I know. Here's the thing: they talked about it as being like a Star Wars movie, which would have been a great idea, but I didn't see that. That would have been a great idea where you had these, let's say 3 main characters. I think they tried to do, what's his name, the big dude,
Kilowog.
Kilowog. You try to have Kilowog. You have Ryan Reynolds as Hal. I was mixed up the because there's so many Green Lanterns now. Hal Jordan, and then you have Sinestro, who always played. I was trying to think Mark Strong. So you had the trilogy, the Trinity, I should say. So you have the Trinity characters, but you didn't do Star Wars with them. So why say this is like a new Star Wars movie and don't do that? Don't call it that. you know?
Well, the other thing too is
the green screen was awful.
The
CGI was awful.
I actually agree with Ryan Reynolds. They should not have CG'd that suit. They should have just let it be a regular suit.
Didn't they have a suit?
They had one. I
remember seeing him in a suit, or at least him looking at a suit.
They had one. I know they had one because he showed they showed the thing during one of the featurettes. It's kind of like what they did with Hugh Jackman in the Wolverine. At the end of it, they showed the actual brown and yellow suit. Right. And I'm like, dude, this would have been raw.
Why not use that? You have it. Somebody spent time making it.
So they had a suit made. They just decided to go with CG, and it just didn't look right.
So you looked at a real suit, and you looked at CG shots, and you said, "Yeah, the CGs are better," especially with that eye mask. Oh, that was frightening. You're scaring children with that thing.
Yeah. So once again, it was clear that they had no plan, no, I'm not going to say vision. I'm going to say plan. They had no plan for this.
Because that would have been a good way to kick off the DCEU, a good Green Lantern movie. One, we've never had a Green Lantern movie. Two, you could get really fantastical. That way people are set up for the fantasy stuff of the DCEU. And then you could have moved into Man of Steel from that. Maybe at the end, you plug in some Man of Steel stuff, and then you get him started, with, I don't know. I'm sure that you could have come up with something. I could, if I had time to think about it. Well, and then you go into Man of Steel, and then Man of Steel and Green Lantern are connected. in some way. Not, maybe they don't meet or anything like that specifically, but you could have grew from that. But they screwed up, Green Lantern so bad you couldn't even use that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would have did. Like, I would have had a post-credit scene at the end of Green Lantern. I would have had a post-credit scene with the Batcave, and you see the monitors, and you see like the stuff that he was doing on Earth.
Yeah.
You see Batman monitoring.
That's good. That's it.
Yeah. Now you go into Man of Steel.
Right.
Okay, you're not going to Batman yet. You're going to Man of Steel. Post-credit scene in Man of Steel. You go back to the Batcave. You see,
or not even that. You already have what you can have for your post-credit. You have the Bruce Wayne side of what happened in Metropolis.
Yeah.
So you can throw that as your post-credit scene. That would be great. Because now you got it tied together.
Yeah. And
at the end you had the shot of Bruce Wayne looking up with that mean mug he had on his face when Superman was flying
pissed
away.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
beautiful setup. Boom. Now you can go into Batman vs Superman after that, but you can still establish Superman because you have more time. You're not spending an hour and a half on garbage or stuff that shouldn't be in the movie, like that flashback with the Flash, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You could have got rid of all that. No Wonder Woman
made no sense.
No sense at all. No.
Yeah.
Right. No Wonder Woman stuff. None of that. Save Wonder Woman to post credit at the end of BVS or something like that, and then you go into her thing. So you could have done this without.
Either way it goes, Justice League should not have came out in 2017.
No, Justice League should maybe be coming out this year or next year.
Yeah, like
at the earliest.
And now, getting to Justice League, then here's what people gonna get mad at me. Justice League's not a bad movie.
It's not.
It's really not. Y'all are sitting up here acting. Y'all got mad. I'm gonna tell you right when people got mad. Y'all got mad when y'all saw Joss Whedon's name on it.
Yeah,
that's when you got mad. You didn't even see the film. You got mad because you saw Joss Whedon's name.
He betrayed us.
I can tell you exactly what scenes Joss Whedon did because you can tell.
Oh yeah, you can tell easy.
The scene where Aquaman sits on the lasso and starts telling all the truth.
That's
a Joss Whedon scene. Yeah. That's a textbook Joss Whedon scene. The scene where they're all in the thing and they have that argument where Bruce pisses off Diana. Right. That's a Joss Whedon scene.
Yep.
And there's one more. What's the other one?
The Flash landing on top of Wonder Woman. That's so Joss Whedon.
That's Joss Whedon. Other than that, the rest of that movie is Zack Snyder.
I knew that beforehand. I was like, that's Joss Whedon right there. It's got to be. Looked it up. What's the name? Gal Gadot did not want to do that at all. That was a body double. She didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon kind of forced that in there. She didn't want to do that, that gag where he's laying on her, And then
he speeds up and gets
and he speeds up and gets off of her. And she's just kind of, that was so Joss Whedon. And it's like,
but that's the thing. I'm like, he didn't. People are acting like he redirected the whole movie. No, he didn't.
No.
The majority of that movie is Zack Snyder directed. If you've watched enough Zack Snyder films, you know this.
But everything Henry Cavill, as far as the the mouth, that was Joss Whedon filming. But again, it's because they tried to change
some stuff they shouldn't have changed.
They shouldn't have changed. They should just left it alone.
Now here's where the Snyder Cut people are gonna get mad at me. And look, I'm telling you this because I'm your friend. I'm telling you this because I'm your friend. You think you want a Zack Snyder cut? If what WB said was true, and that movie was 3.5 hours, I know y'all ain't gonna sit through it. I know you're not. Half of y'all don't know who the characters are now. So if he's gonna throw in Desaad, he's gonna throw in the Furies, and he's gonna throw in Darkseid. And y'all don't even know who they are?
It's way too much.
It's too much. Like, look, the reason why I said if they would have started out with Justice League, it would have made more sense, because if you do it the way the New 52 does it, you don't have time to worry about that, because the story is basically you're in the front line of an invasion and you just got to work together. You don't have a choice. So
and you don't have to worry about how to catty corner all the different characters together, because You already had them together in one movie. Now you can focus on, hey, this is a crazy world we live in here. Now you can have the solo movies after that. You could have done that. They were going to do that. They had a Justice League set up. What did I say earlier? What's his name? Who showed me Batman? Armie Hammer was signed on to be Batman for the Justice League movie. So this was something they were going to do. The problem is, the main problem, you can be upset with Zack Snyder, and he certainly has his faults. Yeah. He certainly has things that he can't do well as a director. But the biggest onus goes on WB. On WB. Here and there and everywhere. Yeah. Instead of having a solid set plan for this awesome property they have. Being DC. They just did not have a solid set plan. Even after somebody came out before them and showed them a solid set plan.
How to do it.
This is how you do it. And they don't have to do it exactly. I'm not talking about it has to be, the Marvel one-liner, all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that. I just mean the way you set it up with having enough confidence in these characters. I just feel like WB never had enough confidence in a Green Lantern. They only have confidence in Batman, and Superman is a bit under that, right? To an extent. But it's mostly Batman because he's like a proven. Even when the movies are bad, people go watch them. Forever and
Dark Knight Rises.
And Dark Knight Rises is bad. And Dark Knight Rises has so many freaking problems. Yeah, I said it at the beginning, but a lot of fans were trying to. Oh no, the Nolan fanboys. Yeah, they'll come and get you too. Yeah, they will. They're way worse than the Zack Snyder fanboys. Trust me, they're way worse. But even now they can't defend some of this gaping plot holes in that movie. Nolan just wanted to get out of there. So,
yeah, and the other problem that I see with that was you gotta be, if your movie suck, don't care. Y'all think all these Marvel movies were good? No, but they didn't get mad.
They didn't care.
They didn't, because they knew where they were trying to get to, and they were like, "Look, this goes. You're going to need. You hate this movie now, but by Infinity War, you're going to need this."
The first Captain America movie. That was a great film. No, it was all right. It wasn't bad, but it was it was okay, But they didn't care.
It made sense in their overarching narrative.
Exactly.
And that's what and Warner Brothers should have been like that. Warner Brothers ain't no broke company. They're not Lionsgate where, they have to push stuff to the home video because they don't really make like that.
And people forget this wasn't Disney yet. This was still Paramount, right?
Paramount.
Yeah, this is Paramount's Marvel Studios. Paramount is, known for being the most lucrative company out there.
Because Disney didn't get them. Disney got them after Avengers.
They got them after
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 2. Iron Man 3. Right.
Iron Man 3. Yeah.
Right.
That's when they got them. Other than that, there
was a lot going on. Yeah, Avengers had happened. The Iron Man movies, Thor movies had happened. Yeah. So this wasn't about Disney's money at that time. This was just about good planning.
Yeah, and just having enough gumption to say, okay, this movie didn't work, but it still works within our narrative. Right. We got to keep going.
It still establishes. It doesn't have to do. It doesn't have to make you $800 million profit. Yeah. To be good. If it just made $200 million, you at least you established a character in this world. People like stories that continue on. You're gonna keep building that audience. You're gonna keep look at Ant-Man. You think Marvel cares that Ant-Mans aren't huge successes? No, they keep making them. Isn't there another one coming?
Yeah, there's another one coming.
Yeah, and none of them have done that great. They've been successful. Yeah, they haven't done other movies.
They ain't made no $1 billion.
No, they're not $1 billion movies at all. I mean, they barely make 600.
Yeah, but that. The funny thing about it is people go see them because of Michael Pena in them stores. I'm sorry,
right? That's why people like them. But they're good movies. I like them too. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not Ant-Man is not on the level of Captain America.
No, no. To this day, for me, the best Marvel movie is Winter Soldier.
Dude, I love hands down. It's the most complete movie they did.
Oh, it's great.
It's bad when the honest trailer people can't really find nothing wrong with it. They had to nitpick it.
And they make a joke about not being able to find anything wrong with it.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's I will say this. Captain America Winter Soldier is probably one of my favorite comic book movies ever.
Yeah, it's
just from top to bottom. Because I didn't expect them to pull that off, and they were able to do it. And I will say this: the other thing too is I hate that people hate on Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is actually a very good actor.
He's really good.
The problem is Henry Cavill is one of those people that I feel like
he has a reputation for being difficult.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think it's how good his director is too. Like,
right,
if your director ain't that good, come on, man.
Right. He had a really good director in Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
and he was awesome.
How that turned out.
That turned out great, and you didn't hear anything about Henry Cavill, but he hasn't really had a great director yet to direct him. That's one of the problems. Yeah. So get him somebody with some clout. If you're going to make a movie with him, all you got to do to calm him down is to get him somebody with some clout. Don't give him some, red shirt freshman.
Nah. Like, I would love to see, like, if he was somebody, like, for instance, the Russo brothers. I would love to see what the Russo brothers would do with him in the Superman movie.
Me too.
I would love to see what they would do with him. Because I think, here's my thing with Superman.
It's never going to happen.
Superman for DC is kind of like Captain America for Marvel. Captain America for Marvel, you ride for Captain America. When he give that Captain America speech, when Steve Rogers give that speech, you like, you know what? Let's go ride on these fools.
Right.
Superman for DC,
patriotic and you feel true blue after that.
Superman for DC is the same way, where when you see him, it's like Optimus Prime coming. Okay, we finna go whoop everybody ass.
Right.
Because when you see that S, you know it's on.
Right. And that was the problem with the Justice League, is they tried to shove that in.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Quickly, and that it didn't work. And they even went back to the Richard Donner movies, music, John Williams stuff. And I'm like,
don't do that.
Really?
Don't do that.
Like, really, Josh? Really? And then they even with Batman. I mean, because they brought in Danny Elfman, so he was using his music. When Hans Zimmer music is amazing. Yeah, his music that he did for Wonder Woman, the theme song for Batman, and the theme song for Superman, they go together so well, and they're awesome scores. Yeah, they are great, and it's just that's another one of my pet peeves and my anguish about this whole thing. Is I feel like his music is going to go away. It's going to go to the wayside after what they're doing. That was not the problem. His music is great. Wonder Woman's theme got me goosebumps, especially when she came in BBS. Like,
and I know people were like they were trying to pretend like they didn't like it. When you saw her show up in BBS, you knew it was on and popping.
She was the best part of that movie. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
come on.
You knew it was on and popping when you saw her in BBS. Don't lie.
And I was a what do you call it? A naysayer about Gal Gadot. I was like, Gal Gadot's gonna be Wonder Woman. That's gonna work. She's too small and she can't act, because I hadn't seen her in anything.
But Fast and the Furious, right? And let's be honest, Fast and the Furious is not Shakespeare. Right?
Exactly. Now she's gonna have to lead a movie, and that's I was worried about that. But she shut me up quick. Quick.
I mean, that's what happens when you get like somebody with a good, like, because like her movie with Patty Jenkins, that was
great,
perfect.
I will tell you, 84 has me a little worried. I'm a little worried about that movie.
84 only has me worried in the sense that I like Pedro Pascal, but I can't see him as Maxwell Lord.
I know. That's my problem. Him being Maxwell Lord, he pulls it off. I'll be the first one standing up clapping.
Because I like him. Like Pedro Pascal, he's a good actor. He's a damn good actor. But I just
I'm worried about things like, they took she doesn't have her sword. I like the whole warrior aspect of the warrior princess aspect of.
You know what I find funny? Like, okay, so they took her sword in this one, but like in the comics, they gave it. She's had her sword since 252.
for a while.
Yeah, since when they started back with New 52, they gave her sword. They're like, look, we know you a killer.
Yeah. Now I get that they're going back to the era of her more being about her lasso at that time.
Yeah,
in the 80s and whatnot. So I get that, but after giving me the sword and her whole warrior mentality, I don't want that to be taken away with 80s, neon and that's only going to take me so far in the movie.
Well, dude, I know you're waiting for them 80s pastel colors.
Oh man, I love the 80s. Don't get it twisted. Like I love it, but
too much at Miami Vice. You go see them Ferrari show up.
Dudes in suit jackets and t-shirts.
The Michael Jackson Thriller jackets.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and another movie that they did that I actually enjoyed, Aquaman, which I did not think I was gonna like that movie.
Thank you.
And I wound up loving it.
Yeah, I was worried about Aquaman too. Don't get
so they have the potential to do good stuff, but I still think that like they need to first of all stop looking at what Marvel doing. Just stop. Yeah. Don't look at Marvel's numbers, all that money they're making.
I think they've already started that part at least.
So I think if you work on yours, you can get that. If you work on yours, don't worry about what they're doing. Work on yours. Make sure you have, if anything, take them writers that y'all put on all these animated films and put them in the writing room because they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
On the animated department.
Why isn't Jeff Johns more involved? Like, what happened? Like, I know there was something that went down.
They kind of blamed. Well, after the Justice League debacle, they kind of blamed him for it.
And that's BS because
he was the fall guy.
Yeah, he was the fall guy. So
he was the fall guy. So because I think at the time he was there. I forgot what title they had him at, and they had him over their DCEU. But remember, he only got over there after they already did Batman vs Superman. So,
and he was a big part of Aquaman too. But they ain't gonna give him credit.
So I'm like, well, they used his story from the comic.
I know. But they're gonna give him that credit.
But my thing was, you can't bring the guy in after y'all already messed up and then blame him for it. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, actually, I guess they can because they did.
Yeah, they did. So I think they have a whole new group over there that's running the
film side because he's still heavily
on the comic side
and TV stuff too, right?
Yeah, and some of the TV stuff. Yeah. So all in all, I think they will be fine if they can just figure out what they want to do and stick to it. Because this whole thing with the Flash, I am so worried about the Flash movie because now they want to do Flashpoint to kind of try to reset everything. Like, please don't do this. Y'all get into X-Men Days of Future Past territory. Please don't do this.
You want me to be honest?
What?
I don't think any of that's going to happen.
I hope it doesn't.
I don't think you're going to. Yeah, I think Ezra Miller's done, especially after what happened, after what he did recently.
Yeah.
They just
that fan.
They don't have to talk about it right now because of the pandemic. They don't really have to talk about it right now because they can push that kind of stuff off. But I bet you when it starts to pick back up, things start to get back into normal, and then when movie news starts to pick back up, you're going to hear about Ezra Miller's out. We're not doing the Flash movie yet, or he's being replaced. We're not doing Flashpoint. We shouldn't do Flashpoint anyway.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You don't have the. There's no build up to it.
No, you can't. You got to build up to that. So, you're just gonna do a regular Flash movie, origin movie, because we haven't had that on the big screen. Yeah, we had it on TV. It was pretty good.
Here's the other problem, because remember they originally they were gonna do that origin story, but the origin story was basically season 1 of the Flash from the Arrowverse, and people was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, why do that?
The script leaked.
yeah,
the script
I forgot
leaked.
about that. Yeah, that's right.
And like people was like, "Okay, if you're not gonna use Grant Gustin, why in the world are you doing his season, basically a truncated season 1?"
Right. And here's the thing: I get why you can't use Grant, especially now. Maybe back when it was just Flash and Arrow.
Yeah, but now
you can use it. But now they got all these. So that means all that other stuff now has a tie-in, has to come along with Grant. So you can't use them now at this point.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of what they did, showing the not multiverse. What is it?
Are you talking about doing the crossover where they show
the
Ezra show up?
Right.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, now we can understand there's separate flashes. Got it. Good.
Yeah.
That was a good thing. But Ezra, Ezra. I mean, he was all right as Flash. I don't mind them replacing him.
I don't either. Because they already talking about replacing Kirstie Clemens as Iris, but all her scenes got cut anyway. So
you might need to replace Amber Heard, by the way.
She's getting replaced.
Yeah.
She might be in jail.
Seriously, I mean,
because woo boy.
Yeah. So, and I'm not gonna miss her either.
Nah,
she wasn't that great.
That was one of the things
eye candy, but that's about it.
Because that was one of the things I didn't like about Aquaman, because that jump felt so forced at the end.
Yeah,
it felt so out of place.
And nobody's gonna miss her. Nobody's gonna miss her.
No, not really.
Find a natural redhead.
Yeah,
that should
basically.
Be too hard. What's it? She's probably not right. I heard it made me sad. I mean, I came to tears about it. Your girl from Daredevil, the love interest. What's her name?
Deborah Ann Wall.
Yeah, she's talked about how she hasn't been able to find work whatsoever after Daredevil. Yeah, after the whole universe wrapped up, and she was like in tears about it, and it made me sad as hell. And I'm like, she's a great actress. Why is
she's an awesome actress?
Why is she having trouble? You can go back to like a True Blood.
Yeah, and I'm like, when I first saw her, it was True Blood, and I'm like, this woman is off the chain. Great. And it's as much as they kind of messed some stuff up with Karen's character, I never didn't like her.
Yeah, but she was so good that they said, "Oh no, you got to be a part of the Punisher series."
Yeah.
She wasn't supposed to be a part of that series.
No, matter of fact,
was so good with Barenthal that they had to, we got to have her for our show.
I mean, she was only supposed to do one episode. She wound up damn near being a primary character.
Right. She was a very important character, and I'm like, she's a great actress. Why is she having trouble finding work? I don't understand. When you have all these terrible,
because she's
terrible Anne Hurd running around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there they can get. I would love to see. And here's another thing I think might actually, I don't know if it's gonna hurt DC's movie side, but the fact that the TV shows with all their problems are doing well still might be an issue, because the one of the first things they said they was gonna do was hold off on the Superman movie to introduce Supergirl. I'm glad they stopped saying that, because I'm like, Henry Cavill ain't getting no younger.
No, and you don't bring in no damn Supergirl. I'm not excited for that. I'm a huge DC fan. You can't bring in Supergirl right now. Supergirl needs to be like way after the first story thread for the DCEU. She has to be like after that. You can't bring her in now. And
please, when you do bring her in, don't immediately go to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Build that up. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, look, please make a story that makes sense. I'm of the thing here that I don't think every character needs 3 movies. I'm not on that. No. But if you need, if Superman needs 2 movies, okay, give him 2 movies for your story.
Superman does not need a trilogy. I
don't think a lot of them need no trilogy. I think if you have already established that this is a known universe and they all know each other, it's time for people to start showing up in other folks' movies.
Right.
Because everybody ain't getting 3 and 4 movies.
I'm still upset that Henry Cavill was not at the end of Shazam. That still bothers me. It should have been him.
But I think at the time, that's when they started talking him out anyway.
Talking that silly mess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew they were going to have to replace Ben Affleck, because I'm like, dude, Ben Affleck is damn near 50 years old. He ain't going to keep doing this. So that's why I was like, you shouldn't have hired. As much as I like Ben Affleck now as an actor, you shouldn't have hired him, because you should have went younger, because of the simple fact that you need Superman. To me, you need Superman and Batman at the same age. You're using the Frank Miller Batman, but Superman is younger, which makes no sense. They were the same age when that jump went down in Dark Knight.
Right.
So And they had been friends for years anyway.
Yeah, they've been friends for years. So that's another reason maybe you shouldn't even touch Batman versus Superman, because they had
make
been
them friends first.
Yeah.
And then once and the other thing that killed them was Civil War comes out a month and a half after that, and Civil War murks them because of the simple fact that whether you like the film or not, you saw both sides of the conflict. You didn't see that in BVS. So it made
all
it
you saw was
worse.
Batman.
Yeah. It wound up making it extra worse when you have Marvel who did it, and they're like, okay, you see Tony's side, you see Cap's side. Who you got?
Cap.
yeah. And then in Batman vs Superman, you're like, oh, Superman's a douchebag. Batman kill him. That's what you was like.
Yeah. And the animated movie especially, and he was like, this dude's he's a government tool.
Yeah. So kill him.
Please do.
Yeah. I mean, if you want, we could call Goku from Dragon Ball Z and help you out. I mean,
but even then, Superman was like, I could have killed you, dog. Like, I'm holding back.
here's the thing, is the dumbest line in all of cinema, to the point that they even make fun of it in video games now. The freaking Martha line.
And you know what? I'm so torn, because it's like, I know what you're trying to do, but you just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good premise. That is a good idea. But the problem is, it was so not well executed that people just thought, oh, because your mom's name's Martha, we cool now? No, that wasn't the point. The point was to remind Bruce, because Bruce, he was becoming a villain, basically.
He was becoming what he hated.
Right. And that was to remind him that, hey, I'm not what you think I am. I have a mother. You know, she just happens to be named Martha, but I also have a mother. I'm not this dangerous being that you see me as. And in that second that he was about to stab him and be done with him, you're not the good guy in this. You know, you're the villain right now. And that was the emotional thing that they were trying to trigger. But it was so, again, that's Zack Snyder. That's Zack Snyder and David Goyer. Yeah. You know, you can work out bad writing. Case in point, the second Star Wars original one, Empire Strikes Back. At the end, where they're about to freeze Han and Carbonite, George Lucas wrote for him for Leia to say "I love you," and then for Han to say back "I love you too." But they kept doing it, and it just didn't work. It didn't sound right.
Because nobody would have believed that.
You're right. It didn't have the right feel. And they shot it, and he kept doing multiple takes, and they gave up on it. The director was like, Irvin Kershner, by the way. George Lucas didn't do it. If it had been George Lucas, he would have used one of those things where he said, "I love you too," and it would have been totally whack. Yeah, it would. Yeah. But Irvin Kershner was like, "This is not working." He was he's a serious, well-established director. He was like, "All right, Han, this is where directing comes in. What do you think, Han? Matter of fact, don't even think about it. Just go. Action. I love you. I know. Cut." Because that worked for the actor. The actor said, "I'm in this moment. This is how it should be portrayed." And I think, Henry Cavill being a newer actor to the scene, he couldn't really, get to that point without a director helping him. And Zack Snyder is not good at those little moments in films and directing people. And he's good at action. He's great at that. He's good at setup and set pieces, and he's got that down. But he lacks the morality when it comes to character establishing characters. And that's where you need somebody to step in and be like, "Hey, this didn't work. This scene, I know what you wanted. I know what you wrote, David. I know what you were thinking, I guess, but this didn't work as an actual scene. We need to do something else here." And that was the biggest crux, and then it became a punchline, obviously.
Yeah, it hurt because it's like you said. Because I'm like, I wonder how many takes they did. I'm like, somebody should have said, "Dude, this ain't working."
You're telling me somebody instead of start laughing when it Martha?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, and even then, like,
why
if
did you say that name?
So
why did you say that name? Like, you wrote
so
that?
T, let me ask you this: so you're the director, you're sitting in post, and you see that, and you know it's not working. Aren't you gonna do something about it?
Yeah.
Well,
I would go in post, especially because you could certainly do that in post. I would have totally cut out his line. What did you say that name? I would have had, but this would have, caused for reshoots. And I think they did some stuff like that on.
They did the reshoots.
They did reshoots on. No, I'm talking about Star Wars on Empire Strikes Back because they went over budget. They did reshoots on it because certain things didn't work, and you have to do reshoots. That's why you sign actors on to say you got to come back maybe after we start putting this stuff together if it doesn't work, because that's where you make the movies in post. So when you get there and the stuff's not working, you're like, well, we need to call these people back, set up a little, because you can do close-ups, and not have to go to the actual set that you were on. That happens 1,000 times. He thinks that stuff, the close-up in the same location, it's not. A lot of times it's in the sound stage somewhere months after that scene was shot. So you can do that. You can go back and fix that kind of stuff. So you might have to go back and fix some things. But when he's standing there over Superman, you can show him, like, you can show things that he's done. Like, show the scene where he's like machine gunning people,
yeah,
doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and then he realizes he's a villain. You don't have to say it; you can show it visually. You don't want. Sometimes you can show, not tell is one of the biggest things in movies. That's I hate. What do they call it? Exposition. Too much exposition. Oh, we did this. Remember that was the problem with the original the prequel trilogy. When they were in the elevator, they were talking about these adventures they went on. I want to see that,
Yeah, don't tell me. Show me.
Yeah, because that way I can establish that you guys are friends. I can see it with myself, and so when things break off, you really feel the pain of it, because you never got to see what's his name, Obi-Wan and Anakin really be friends. So when he says, "Oh, he was a good friend," well, really? I didn't see it. I never saw that. So that's the thing. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. You can establish in reshoots, and the editor could have been like, "Yo, this is not working." If he has some, something swinging under himself, that's what you say. Hey, Mr. Director, this is not working. You're gonna have to go back and reshoot, and that's how it works. So.
Okay, so it was just one of those situations where, and that's once again the reason why we're doing this is because one, I'm like I want them to be successful because I want my Static Shock movie, but
man,
but
you and me both, bro.
But my thing is, I'm like, okay, dude, you have to. If you do it, I want it to be done right.
Right.
I wanted to make money. I don't want it to not make money because it's garbage. So. I mean, I understand where, like, I understand that, like, WB has the properties and all that, but I'm like, bruh, it's clear that you guys have, like, a very talented writing staff, but they're just working on the animated stuff. Why don't you just bring them over?
You have them. You have the resources right there.
Yeah.
Knock on the door and say, hey, guys.
Be like, look, I'm going to need y'all. I know y'all working on Superman Red Sun. That's beautiful. I like that. As soon as y'all done with that, I need y'all to write this.
At least let them write the treatment.
Yeah.
Treatment.
Yeah.
It's basically the script without, like, the dialogue. There's some dialogue, but it's mostly like action scenes, set pieces where you're going to be, the story without like focused dialogue. So at least have those guys write that treatment. And then you bring in a more established writer that's really good with writing characters and developing and stuff like that. Because sometimes the stuff that happens in animated films is not going to work for a feature film. It's not going to work for a live action film. So you're still going to need an extra writer to talk, have dialogue between characters and how people talk to each other. Because you don't really get that in animated films. It's all about the spectacle for the most part.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so you have the resource right there. Like, you can tap that resource and like, hey, you guys work together. But the thing is, they need a DC Studios. First
Yeah,
and
that's
foremost.
true.
Marvel, they understood, even when they were Paramount understood these guys need their own box to work in. And we're not going to touch them. Let them mostly do their own thing. Say, okay, well, you need to have this amount. You need to make this amount. This is your budget. You need to make this amount per movie. As long as you're doing that, we ain't going to mess with you. And that's what DC needs. They need DC Studios inside of Marvel or inside of WB. Right.
Well, that makes sense. That would make sense. I mean,
because this is a huge property with a lot of moving parts. You can't just have WB executives, messing with that.
Yeah, had their hands in. Because if I'm not mistaken, WB has all of DC's catalog. They don't have to it's not like
they have the entire catalog.
Yeah, it's not like with Marvel where they have like Paramount got Namor and Hulk. Sony got Spider-Man. It ain't like
Fox
that.
Now they got Fox, but Fox had Marvel or X-Men and
Fantastic Four and all that. So in that case, you would think WB would be in a more suited.
They're in a stronger position than Marvel is, and then Marvel was.
Because they have access to everything.
Right, and on top of that, they had multiple successful movies based on those properties already. Marvel had just started to get there. Obviously it's Spider-Man, but that was Sony. As far as like Marvel and then Disney and Paramount, that was their first go at it. Was Iron Man.
Yeah.
So, and even the Incredible Hulk, it wasn't a huge success.
Mm-mm.
It was
I think it only made like 200 and something million. I think stateside.
Yeah, stateside it didn't do that well at all. I mean, I think they made enough,
and it was actually a good movie.
It was good. Yeah, my point is, it didn't matter to them. It was good enough for them to continue on with that character. Obviously, there were some issues with the actor who played him in that, but they kept on with Hulk after that,
and it worked because to me, I think they got a better actor out of that. Mark Ruffalo was way better.
He's much better in that role. Not to say that Ed Norton is not a great actor. He is a great actor.
He is, but
in that role, Mark Ruffalo was much better.
Yeah, after seeing Mark Ruffalo do it, you're like, dude, he's
He has that subtle kind of, you can tell there's something under.
You really don't want to piss this guy off,
right.
So
he plays that a lot better.
Yeah, way better. Because I'm gonna be honest, ain't nobody scared of Ed Norton, but
maybe in American History X we were.
Yeah, but that was like the only movie ever.
Yeah.
But that's gonna do it for this therapy session. I think we got X-Men next, right?
X-Men. Oh boy, this is tough. We're gonna move from DC to X-Men. Oh my goodness.
It got to be done, man. So
we got to
be done because because X-Men is that's the one I fanboy out over, and y'all ain't gonna like me. So some of y'all that love Bryan Singer, y'all ain't gonna like me.
I fanboy for certain characters, obviously. My boy with the bow staff. That's my guy. Yeah. So and we haven't.
Thank God it ain't gonna be Channing Tatum.
Yeah, but I was kind of accepting it, but I'm glad it's not gonna happen. I'm so glad.
Yeah. Oh boy. But that's gonna do it for this one. Leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Would you in the comment section, all y'all that love this idea of the Zack Snyder cut, I want y'all to tell me if you know who all those characters are that would be in there. Darkseid, Desaad, all of them. Because here's the thing.
I do, but I'm guessing a lot of you.
Yeah, I know who they are, and I actually know how they fit. Mm-hmm. The problem is I'm talking about a movie-going audience that don't know these comics. So the problem is I understand why you're asking for it, because you're hoping on you're hoping that it's going to be like the Batman vs Superman situation where in July when we got the Ultimate Cut, it made more sense.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think it's going to happen? Do you know who those characters are? Would you be able to? Because I know people be asking me in theaters all the time, like who this is and who that is. I'm like, God dang it, read a book. So
Well,
and I wound up having to tell them.
The director, the filmmakers have failed. If you got to do that, if you got to tell somebody to read the comic, and you failed at what you're supposed to be doing here.
Trust me, I have to do that. I had to do that a lot in every X-Men film I've walked into.
Yeah, well,
so
that says a lot,
Simon Kinberg. So, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let us know. What do you if there's one that you want us to tackle, therapy session you would like us to tackle? Let us know, and we'll see you guys on the next therapy session. Peace out, peeps.